This is the MAX 7, the smallest 737 MAX family member, and it's in a bit of a pickle. The MAX program was announced nearly 15 years ago, and in early 2026, 2 of the 4 variants still haven't entered commercial service. But the delays are only the tip of the iceberg. In reality, there are far more prominent issues beneath the surface. Nothing to do with safety, and nothing to do with it being a Boeing. And the almost pathetic order book is a telltale sign that there is something going on here. The MAX 7 has sold just over 300 units, a mere fraction of the 17,000 sold across all 737 variants. You'll notice though that throughout all generations, it's always the smallest member that performs the worst. And the reason for this is even more prominent today. So if the MAX 7 is selling so badly, and shorter variants were known to sell worse, why did Boeing actually decide to build it? So after Boeing ditched a 757 MAX, they doubled down on the 737, and the MAX 7 became a replacement for older 737-500s and 700s. Initially, it didn't seem creating a shrunken variant would cost a huge amount, and it would tick the small narrow-body box in Boeing's catalogue. Of course, we all know how difficult the MAX 7 and 10 are proving to be to become certified at the moment. But do we know why? Let's start with internal cannibalisation from the MAX 8. To be brutally honest, the differences between the MAX 7 and 8 seem pretty small, but for an airline operating hundreds of flights per month, these minute details quickly add up. The MAX 8 offers between 20 and 30 more seats than the MAX 7, and this plays a huge role in cost per seat mile. Admittedly, this is a cliche that's thrown about a lot, but it actually carries extreme importance for the profit margins. Put simply, the cost of operation, for example crew, fuel and ground fees, are pretty much the same for both aircraft. But when you have 30 more paying customers per flight, there's more revenue spread out over that cost, essentially making it much cheaper to fly a slightly larger jet like the MAX 8 as opposed to the MAX 7. If we look at the Airbus A220 family as a good example, we of course know that the A318, or the baby bus, sold terribly compared to its siblings. So bad in fact that when Airbus launched the A320neo program, the A318 was left out altogether, and even the new, smallest A319neo has had trouble gaining traction. In today's world of soaring fuel prices, restricted airport slots, and fierce competition, an airplane this small just doesn't make sense. And this brings us neatly onto our next point. Timing. The MAX 8 and 9 entered service nearly 8 years ago, and the MAX 7 and 10 are being held back by certification delays and increased scrutiny after the well-known incidents. Boeing has yet again pushed back entry into service, and at this point we're probably going to get GTA 6 before the remaining MAX variants. And as a result of these lengthy delays, many airlines have by this point pivoted towards larger MAX variants, or pulled a 180 and gone for the A320 family, thus further crippling the MAX 7's order book. And speaking of Airbus, let's throw in a curveball. I want to talk about how the MAX 7 looks genuinely outclassed by the A220. The A220 is a clean sheet alloy-based narrowbody with similar capacity and better fuel burn. And you might be thinking the A220 isn't really a competitor to the MAX 7, but the A220's mission profile is actually very similar. It's been built for lower seat counts and shorter routes, which is pretty much the same as the MAX 7. So logically, if the A220 looks better on paper, and if an airline needed a narrowbody with 150 to 180 seats for shorter domestic routes, then an A220 would be a great option. Unfortunately for the MAX 7, being a shrunken version of an airplane optimized to be bigger, it carries larger wings, tail and landing gear, and all that extra weight offsets any efficiency gains from its new engines. But for some airlines, the MAX 7 isn't a complete disaster. Southwest are the official launch customer for the MAX 7, having ordered around 300 airplanes. For them, buying the MAX 7 should make sense. After all, they did historically operate the smallest 737-500, and they still use the 700 today as well. Southwest has all the route infrastructure already in place for the smaller jets, so they probably won't have any issue transitioning, and thanks to them, the MAX 7 still has a place in modern aviation. So what do you think? Is the MAX 7 screwed? Or will it be fine thanks to the lifeline from Southwest? Make sure to leave a comment below with your thoughts, and if you made it this far, then here's a video about the 737 MAX 10 that you might enjoy.